guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is my guy, sounds like he's probably late 30s, maybe about 40 years old, and he's writing in as he's having trouble in paradise. You see, for the second time in his marriage, his wife is under the influence of the green-haired sisterhood, if you will. The first time was in 2016 when Trump won the election, and immediately, like many at the sisterhood, and those out there, started losing their freaking minds. And in that time period, also found out a lot of things about her that she neglected to mention prior to getting married. And yet, he stayed with her and did something really stupid. But here we are now, and the results of the 2024 election, and Trump won, and now she's back to her old games, except this time, she is denying him any loving in the bedroom. And he recently found out that she's actually cheating on him to punish him, A, because of how he chose to vote, kid you not, and also passive-aggressively get back at him for something years ago. In other words, this is a big, giant, freaking mess. And he's looking for help here, even though it should be pretty obvious what he should do. And I'll be going to go over here, guys, multiple fronts here, to show you that when you start discovering something about your girl's past that she neglected to mention, as you're going to find out here, and it's that bad, you have a reason to part ways. And if your girl starts behaving like one of these nut jobs, these effinists, again, she's no longer the person you married. Every reason to get rid of her. And of course, if she's cheating, you can get rid of her. So, I'm going to go through this guy's email here and share my points. And hopefully we can really push him in the direction of making the right choice here. So he says, Dear SSM, I'm in an unbelievable situation and could really benefit from your guidance. Everybody thinks they're in this unbelievable situation, but it all boils down to my wife turned into a giant asshole, and she's cheating, and I need to get rid of her. Done. But okay. My wife and I have been married for 15 years now. We met in college under the usual circumstances and quickly started a committed relationship. Now, I'm not going to BS you, SSM. I was into this girl because she was built like an effing Ferrari. She had natural double Ds, her stomach was perfectly flat all the way down to you-know-where, and her butt was the greatest miracle in human history. Smack! Dude, don't get carried away now. She's just a chick. Alright? Yeah, she was a hottie. But guess what? At the time when you were in college, there were millions of hotties all over this country. I mean, come on here. But I can tell immediately, you put her on the pedestal. And she darn well knew it. That's a problem. I could elaborate here, and I'd like to say that because she had some other features that I was very impressed by them, and if I went further, I'm afraid you get kicked off YouTube. Well, I think we get the point. Great butt, great boobs, all that. That said, I have to point out that she wasn't exactly the most intellectual woman I dated. She worked at a lingerie shop and spent most of her money there. Her passions included celebrity gossip, Taylor Swift, and fashion. But trust me, that body was so good that any man would marry her without a second thought. Smack. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't now, and I wouldn't have back then when I didn't know as much. And most guys here wouldn't marry a girl that are watching this just solely on her looks. You know why? Because in time, if all you value in her, or any woman for that matter, is purely her body, I got news for you. She's going to age. That body will not be as magnificent, if you will, in her 20s as it will in her 40s and on up. She can still look darn good for her age. Plenty of damn good-looking gals, in my opinion, 30s, 40s, and 50s, for their age, but not like the prime. So if you're with her just for that, that's stupid. And obviously she's a dumbass and into celebrity gossip and that crap. So, dude, what the hell? Now that's on you. Perhaps my perspective on these things is a touch unorthodox, but I don't think it's a crime to fall in love with a gal, and for someone for their looks, especially if they're kind and nurturing, of which Kate was both. Well, you're about to find out she's not so kind because she neglected to mention a few things about her, and given her current behavior right now. Yeah, guys have been falling for a woman because of her physical beauty since time began. Wasn't always the smartest thing to do. Although I didn't think much about it at the time, since I was so busy nailing her hot ass, but I suppose she appreciated me for my high income, ding, 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 decent looks, and ability to protect her. I think we'll stick to the high income part. Now things are starting to connect. Because the way you're describing her and the way you're going goo goo gaga over her, it sounded like back then she was probably the hottest chick that paid attention to you. So, of course, you know, you had to rope onto her. That's just what I'm getting from this, man. The first 7 years were great. We traveled, bought our first home, and ultimately got married. But things changed for the worse. Usually do. Around the time Trump won his first election in 2016, my wife became radicalized by the information she was reading on an feminist Facebook group disguised as a women's health forum. At first, she'd be snippy with me out of nowhere about little things, and then she quit doing my laundry and cooking. But it didn't take long before the situation worsened. So she was snippy. First, it started with her being snippy. You obviously didn't check her because you want to make her mad because of that hot body and all. And then it escalated and escalated. Yeah, a lot of women lost their freaking minds then. And now she's being influenced by a bunch of the green-haired army. Great. How wonderful. And you said she stopped doing laundry and cooking? Well, if you're the sole earner and she is a stay-at-home wife, then you bet your ass she needs to get off her ass and start contributing because that's how she does it. You don't say anything about her having a job at the time. Around that time, we were trying to conceive and unfortunately faced some challenges along the way. I won't go into details because it's pretty personal. Suffice to say, we spent much money on fertility treatments. And just when the doctor said everything looked good and gave us the green light, the Me Too movement started. Oh joy. I can't be sure, but it almost seemed like she wanted to be a victim since she started recalling situations in her past out of context, claiming she was Me Too'd. And you're like, wait a second here, I never heard about this before. You neglected to mention these things, sweetie pie, back before we got married. For starters, she had, this is past tense, offered her 56-year-old boss a BJ in exchange for free panties that she wore for him during the transaction. Is this when she was working at the lingerie shop when you started dating her? Didn't sound like she was too pressured that he was pressuring her to me. She wanted free shit. Gold digger? Remember you mentioned your high income? I thought, okay, he was in a position of power, so maybe that was a Me Too, yet she came up with the whole idea. Then she told me stories of all the hookups that she had before me. Information she never mentioned. I thought she'd only been with 2 other guys, and they had used protection. You think a girl as hot as the way you're describing her, like a 9 or a 10, was only with 2 dudes? I don't care if it was 15 years ago. We're talking about basketball players, businessmen, male models, and anyone else with a little fame. She completely freaked out when I asked her why she never told me any of this and implied that she wasn't entirely truthful with me. You think? So, all this is new to you? You got, she's lying by mission. She told me that I was acting like an insecure, straight, white male and didn't talk to me for a week afterwards. So you're insecure because you had a problem with her lying to you about her past. And of course, she had to throw in the typical buzzwords of the time 10 years ago. Straight, white, and male. The epitome of evil in this world. Making it clear that the reason she didn't speak about these hookups was because they were actually traumatizing to her. Because every single guy she hooked up with that she neglected to mention, every single one of them was not her idea, really. She also called out guys who forgot to ask for consent during the act. For example, one guy that she hooked up with at a club touched her boob when he was already inside her bareback. Oh, these are great things for you to learn about your wife. One of those gals actually didn't wait to go home, but was actually hooking up in the club in the bathroom or something like that. But he didn't ask for consent to touch her boob, even though he was, inside. Yeah, I think it's funny, these ideas like asking for that. Imagine you're on a date, or you're getting romantic with your girl, and you're about to, and all of a sudden, oh, is it okay if I sleep with you, honey? Is it okay if I kiss you, honey? Or whatever. Yeah, way to kill the fucking mood here. She must have slept with over 40 guys, with the common denominator being that almost all of them, well, I'm not going to say this part, but it wasn't too good. Looking back, I should have known that such a hot girl would have many partners. You think? And 40 guys. Call me crazy, but I'm sure that number is much higher than 40. Maybe I'm being a little dramatic by saying this, but I gotta talk to you man to man, SSM. Her stories made her sound more like a WHORE than a victim. Well, I agree. And I think she was using the whole Me Too movement as an opportunity to cleanse her disgusting behavior. That's exactly what she was doing. Remember how you said that you married her because, your attraction to her was because of her body? You're like, oh, but she was kind and nurturing. Clearly, she's not so kind. After learning all this, I was distraught and confronted her again in a way I'm not proud of. I'm going to tell you what I said so that I can take some accountability for my actions. No, dude, what you should have done is stop wasting your time, and you should have gone to the divorce lawyer's office. Period. She's not who you thought you married. She, what else? I'm not feeling too good. I'm still getting over a cold. I can't think straight here. She started acting completely different when Mr. T won the election in 2016, stopped her wifely duties, all that, started acting like an a-hole. So this is not the girl you married. I would just gone to your lawyer and said, look, I've been married 8 years. What are my options here? Better than continuing on, but, well, here we are. He said to her, listen, you filthy, you know what? Your past destroyed everything we had. I couldn't understand how her past love life would affect us in the modern day, so I tried to offer her a metaphor. I said to her, imagine I was flying first class in a private jet, when in reality I've been taking the city bus. And I got the seat soiled by a homeless alcoholic 10 minutes earlier. My wife burst out crying hysterically, and I got in my car and went directly to a club to make up for lost time. Oh, so now you're going to go cheat on her. So you're going to behave just as on some levels bad as her. Yeah, her lying to you and all that is obviously different, but still, you're knowingly doing this while you're married to her. You should divorce her. She was texting me to come home, and she even sent me a suggestive selfie, tempting me to come back for some makeup SCX. You're like, no thanks. My response was harsh, and I wrote to her, what kind of loser do you take me for? I don't eat leftovers out of the dumpster. Uh-oh. I can admit that I went too far with it, but I slept with a 20-year-old waitress from the club that I met that night. I was drunk and passed out without me bothering to take a shower. When I got home the following day, Kate was still in her bed and said, I knew you'd come home sooner or later. What happened next was pretty hot. I eventually told her I needed to shower because I had been very active the night before. Hint, hint. Dirty things go in the dumpster. To my surprise, she did freak out, but she didn't divorce me after that. But our dynamic was completely different. Yeah. Well, first of all, the fact that she stayed with you after all that tells me everything's transactional with her. So she didn't really love you. And your marriage is over and you cheated. So now she's like, okay, now I can do whatever I want. I no longer loved her as a wife, but more as a woman I could experiment with. I'm not sure about you, SSM, but I'm as much as disgusted by SLUTSs, but I also find their dirtiness quite hot, and for that reason, I decided to just go with the flow for a while. So you stayed married to her and treat her like a side piece, which she went along with because, let's be honest, she was always the side piece to some guy. And this went on for years, and this is just stupid because bring us to present day, and here we go. He says, fast forward to a few months ago when Trump won his second term, and my wife got brainwashed yet again, this time by Instagram Reels. She spent about 5 hours a day watching those, sometimes more. What the fuck? I assume she doesn't have a job. He obviously never had kids, which is actually a good thing. She's just sitting around watching that stupid shit. Kate embraced a sick protest to deny Trump voters of sex and to reward Harris voters with BJs. She has resisted any passes from me for the past couple months, and apparently, I found it blew these soy boy baristas from Starbucks. I don't want to know how you found out about this. I'm surprised these guys are into it, since you'd probably think that they were GAY if you saw them. Well, I don't drink Starbucks, and I wouldn't be caught dead drinking Starbucks, but I do walk by on occasion, and I look at some of the guys that work there, and yeah, not all, but a lot. The worst part is that since I cheated on her with that girl a few years ago, it feels hypocritical to divorce her over this. And that's why you shouldn't have cheated on her, you should have divorced her. I'm in a terrible situation, SSM. Hopefully you'll help me find a way out. I hope to hear from you soon. Bro, it's over. Don't waste your time. Unless you enjoy drama, which we could, I kind of am starting to think here, end it with her. But here's the problem. If you did it 8 years ago, you would have been hit less hard. But now you've been married for 15 years. Go to a lawyer, find out your options, and when he's done laughing at you, see what you can do and go for it. This is not going to work, okay? She completely lied about her past to you, okay? That ain't cool. Look how easily, because of getting caught up in some movement, how she changes and treats you. And then when you had the opportunity to get rid of her before, you went and cheated on her. I mean, I get you're pissed and hurt and all that, but still, two wrongs don't make a right. And now she has that on you. And now she's denying you sex, which, as a husband, you're certainly entitled to have. And she's hooking up with you with the worst possible guys to stick it to you. This is a terrible situation. So this is why this is not that hard to understand. End it with her. And yeah, you're going to take a hit because you're with her for 15 fucking years. And you're going to lose things that are going to hurt to lose. But at least you can start over. And since you're in your late 30s, you're about 40 years old, you still got plenty of time. You make a good income, okay. It's not hard for a guy to be happy with not a whole lot. And set her free, and she can be on her own, and that's that. If you stay with her after this, you're a fucking moron, okay? You're a moron to marry her solely for the reason of her body. That's not a reason to do it. Plus, he said she's dumb as a post. Celebrity gossip and all that was her hobbies, because she wasn't that kind and nurturing. She was putting on the act because you said you have a high income. That's going to attract a girl like that. You said she was sleeping with her boss for some free panties. So, I mean, come on here. But it's your life. But anyhow, guys, this goes to show you pay attention. You do your homework. You do your due diligence before you get serious with a girl. Marry her. You should have with this girl. You don't marry the 9s and 10s, and there's an obvious reason, once again, for that. And also, guys, to show you how easily these gals get so wrapped up in the current politics and all that, it can be easily influenced by the harpies. The green-haired Sisterhood is a powerful organization, but we're trying to do our part to, smash that organization, but they can impact a lot of women, a lot of dumb women like her. So, man, what's done is done. I know it's very blunt and a little harsh, but you need to hear this. So if you stay with her, don't cry to me. Don't cry to the guys here. But anyhow, I wish you the best. It's Friday. Go to your lawyer's office on Monday. If you don't have a lawyer, talk to people over the weekend. Do your homework. Do your Google searches. Keep it on the down low from her. And certainly don't kiss her since she's servicing the soy boys from Starbucks. And go from there. I wish you the best. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. Let him have it. Give him some tough love and wish him well. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.